Hi guys, welcome back to Sleeve Saturday. You know, in the 1970s and 80s, Queen's bassist John Deacon was a rock star on stadium stages. And this is him today. I find it fascinating how a person can go from this to this.
Sorry, who's that? That's John Deacon, the Queen bass player. Shall we leave him alone?
Look, age catches up on us all, but when someone was in one of the biggest rock bands of all time, in a way they can feel timeless. John Lennon never grew old, so he is perpetually stuck in time in our hearts. Paul McCartney did get old, but it doesn't seem to matter, because even though he is an old man now, he's still a rock star. Same goes for Bruce Springsteen and Mick Jagger. Rock stars of the 70s, just like John Deacon, but because they have never gone away, we've watched them grow old, but retain their youthful nature in our subconscious.
I don't deserve it, but thank you.
John Deacon, on the other hand, just quit the band following Freddie's death in 1991, so to see him now is just jarring. Your eyes kind of have to adjust to it, you know, like opening them up in a dark room. Sure, there was the tribute gig to Mercury in 1992, back on that famous Wembley stage. A concert to this day, which is bittersweet to watch as a fan. So for John, who was a quiet, sensitive man and who was extremely close to Fred, it must have been just torture to do that gig. Deacon himself said at the time, "As far as we are concerned, this is it. There is no point carrying on. It is impossible to replace Freddie." To be fair, the man is true to his word. Even in the band's pomp years beforehand, he maintained the same stance. Queen was just the four of them and nobody else.
The main component is, in fact, it's the same four people. And, it's Roger, Brian, myself and Freddie.
There was one final appearance of Deacon with the band in 1997 with Elton John on lead vocals, though I'm not really sure how they convinced him to do it, but he did it. In 2001, he didn't join the band at all for their Rock Hall induction, which is just crazy. We've seen many a feud put on ice for one night to attend that kind of event. Not Deaky though, as he was so fondly referred to by Mercury. Deacon knew it would never be the same again, and he was happy to step away. And you know what? He was right. As good as Paul Rodgers was with the band, and as cool as the Adam Lambert show is, let's face it, it's just a facsimile of what Queen was. And it's not really Queen for me. John understood that from the start. He wanted to fade into obscurity and relinquish that rockstar lifestyle. However, even being worth 130 million quid, that isn't an easy thing to do. Every now and again, he is mobbed by fans. And you know what, it's kind of sad to see an old man in this situation. He's clearly not comfortable with the attention anymore.
Sorry, who's that? That's John Deacon, the Queen bass player.
Now some will say, sorry John, you put yourself out there for decades and you made a fortune, this is just par for the course. And there is some truth to that. But at the same time, if the man is actively shunning the showbiz lifestyle, well, he should be just allowed to get on with his life. Deacon was never the loudest in the band, and it's not something he actively sought out at the height of their fame. He wasn't happy with being at the front. He was happy to let the others, particularly Freddie, stand out and take the attention. Deacon is rarely, if ever, in touch with May and Taylor these days, unless it's about the band's finances or whatever. At the top of their fame, and even now, he is an active participant in the group's financials. I mean, he's as good a businessman as he was a bassist. He approved of the 2018 biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, which was a good decision because it grossed nearly $1 billion at the box office, which I'm sure laced his pockets even more. Deacon did stand by his decision to quit the band based on recent evidence though. Just this year, Brian May said he was asked back a few times to perform, but rejected the invite every time. And you know what, being honest, I don't think Brian and Roger want him back at all, if truth be told.
Of course we love John, and we always will, but we don't have any significant contact with him now. That's the way he wants it. He wanted to cut that tie and to be a private person, and we have to respect that. I don't think it would be easy for John to step back into the arena that we inhabit. In fact, a couple of times we have asked him, but he always says, no, that's not what I do now. We have to respect that John doesn't want to do it. I think it would be difficult for him anyway, because things have changed a lot. And Roger and I have adapted a certain amount. We're still very old school, but we're aware of different ways of behaving these days.
Guys, John may have been quiet compared to his counterparts in the band, but he was a calming force and a major songwriter in the band. I Want to Break Free, Another One Bites the Dust, and You're My Best Friend, to name just a few. He had the emotional intelligence to write uplifting rockers and heartwarming ballads. He's clearly a deep thinker, and in my opinion, he was absolutely right to retire from the band in the height of their fame. It's a pity May and Taylor didn't do the same. These days, he's just another grandad out for a stroll and having a cigarette, another face in the crowd, you know, when he's not being mobbed. And he should be applauded for giving it all up at the top of their game and not dying on stage in his 70s. I'm curious though, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.